Brianna Cole's hands trembled as she held the half-eaten sandwich. The office was dark except for the city lights streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows. She had waited until 10 p.m., made sure every executive was gone, every light turned off on the 40th floor. The CEO's office was supposed to be empty. It always was at this hour. But tonight someone had left food. Real food. A catered meal that sat untouched on the marble desk, probably ordered for a meeting that ran short. Brianna's stomach had been empty since yesterday morning. Her last paycheck went to her grandmother's medicine. The food pantry wouldn't open until Thursday. She couldn't wait that long. So she ate. She ate standing up, ready to run, taking small bites of the gourmet sandwich like it might disappear. The roasted vegetables tasted like heaven. The fresh bread melted on her tongue. She was so focused on eating, so desperate to fill the aching void in her belly, that she didn't hear the footsteps. "What are you doing in here?" The voice cut through the silence like ice. Brianna spun around, the sandwich dropping from her hands. Security guard Lewis stood in the doorway, his flashlight beam hitting her square in the face. Behind him, 2 more security officers appeared. I was just... Brianna's voice died in her throat. There was no explanation that would save her. She wore her janitor uniform, a gray smock with her name embroidered on the pocket. She held stolen food. She stood in the CEO's private office where she had no permission to be. "You're stealing from Mr. Bennett?" Lewis moved closer, his radio already in his hand. "Do you know what he does to thieves? Do you have any idea whose office this is?" Brianna nodded, tears burning her eyes. Of course she knew. She knew everything about Raphael Bennett. She knew he arrived at 6 a.m. every morning. She knew he took his coffee black with 1 sugar. She knew he loosened his tie when he was stressed and ran his fingers through his dark hair when he was thinking hard. She knew the exact shade of his brown eyes and the way his smile could light up an entire room. She knew because she was his wife. But nobody else knew that. Nobody could know that. Not yet. That's what he had asked and she had agreed. Stay quiet a little longer. Let him handle the board, handle his family, handle the timing. Just a few more months, he promised. 6 months had passed since that promise. "Please," Brianna whispered, her voice breaking. "Please, I'm sorry. I'll leave right now. I'll pay for the food." "Oh. You'll come with us," Lewis said firmly. He reached for her arm. "We're calling Mr. Bennett right now. Let him decide what to do with you." Terror flooded through Brianna's body. Not because Raphael would hurt her. Never that. But because she knew what this would look like. She knew how it would expose everything in the worst possible way. She would seem like exactly what everyone would assume. A poor janitor trying to trap a billionaire. "No, please, you can't call him. I'll just go. I'll quit." "You don't have to." "Too late." Lewis pulled out his phone. "Mr. Bennett has a direct alert for any security issues on this floor. He's probably already on his way." The other 2 security guards moved to block the door. One of them, Officer Reyes, looked at Brianna with something close to pity. "Why would you risk your job for a sandwich? There are shelters. Food banks. Anything but this." "Because I was hungry," Brianna wanted to scream. "Because being married to a billionaire meant nothing when you were too proud to ask for money, when you wanted to prove you could stand on your own, when every dollar you earned went to keeping your grandmother alive. Because love didn't fill an empty stomach when you were trying to be independent and strong." But she said nothing. She just stood there, waiting for her world to crash down around her. The elevator chimed in the distance. Footsteps approached, quick and purposeful. Raphael's footsteps. Brianna would know them anywhere. He appeared in the doorway, slightly breathless, his tie loosened and his suit jacket unbuttoned. His eyes found her immediately and something flickered across his face. Anger? Relief? She couldn't tell. "Mr. Bennett," Lewis stepped forward. "We caught this janitor stealing food from your office. Should we call the police?" Raphael's gaze never left Brianna. The silence stretched out, heavy and thick. Every second felt like an eternity. This was it. The moment everything would change. "No," Raphael said quietly. His voice carried authority that made everyone straighten. "You won't call the police." "But sir?" "Because she's my wife." The words dropped like stones into still water. Lewis's mouth fell open. Officer Reyes gasped. The 3rd guard actually stepped backward in shock. "You're what?" Lewis finally managed to speak. Raphael walked past all of them, moving straight to Brianna. He reached out and took her hand, his thumb brushing over her wedding ring. The simple gold band she wore on a chain under her uniform because she couldn't afford for anyone to see it, ask questions, make assumptions. "My wife." Raphael repeated louder this time. Brianna Cole Bennett. We married 6 months ago. Are you someone who judges people by their appearance or do you look deeper? Drop a comment below telling me what you would do if you found out the janitor was secretly the boss's wife. And please subscribe so you never miss stories about love, hope, and second chances. 6 months. Half a year of secrets, stolen glances, and a double life that was finally crashing down in the worst possible way. Brianna stood frozen as Raphael's words echoed through his office. This is impossible, Lewis stammered, his radio still clutched in his hand. Mr. Bennett, if this is some kind of joke. Does it look like I'm joking? Raphael's voice carried steel beneath the calm surface. He still held Brianna's hand, his grip firm and reassuring. My wife came to bring me dinner. That's what married people do. They take care of each other. The lie rolled off his tongue so smoothly that Brianna almost believed it herself. She hadn't come to bring him anything. She came because she was starving, because pride and stubbornness had kept her from asking for help even from the man she married. But Officer Reyes looked between them, confusion written all over her face. She's a janitor. She works the night shift. Why would she? Why would my wife work at all? Raphael finished the question. His jaw tightened. Because she wanted to. Because she has her own life, her own choices. Because I don't control her and she doesn't need my permission to do anything. Is that clear? All 3 security guards nodded quickly. Good. Raphael turned to Brianna, and his expression softened. Let's go home. Home. The tiny apartment Brianna rented in a neighborhood 40 minutes away by bus. Not Raphael's penthouse downtown. Not the mansion his family owned in the suburbs. Just her small, leaking, barely heated apartment where she lived alone because she insisted on it. I have to finish my shift, Brianna said quietly. Her voice sounded hollow to her own ears. I can't just leave. Yes, you can. Raphael's tone left no room for argument. You're done here. We'll talk to HR tomorrow about your position. My position? Fresh panic bloomed in Brianna's chest. Raphael, I need this job. I can't afford to. You're married to me. Raphael said it simply, like it solved everything. Maybe to him it did. Money isn't an issue. It never has been. But it was an issue. It had always been an issue. Money represented independence, self-worth, the ability to take care of herself. Taking Raphael's money felt like admitting she was exactly what everyone would think once they found out. A gold digger who trapped a rich man. Lewis cleared his throat awkwardly. Mr. Bennett, should we file a report about this incident? No. Raphael's answer was immediate and sharp. There is no incident. My wife was in my office, which is exactly where she has every right to be. The only report you'll file is one confirming that I've updated her security clearance to full building access at all times. Understood. Yes, sir. And Lewis. Raphael added as the guards turned to leave. If I hear any rumors, any gossip, any whispers about my wife or what happened here tonight, I'll know exactly where they started. Are we clear? Lewis paled. Crystal clear, Mr. Bennett. The security guards filed out quickly, leaving Brianna and Raphael alone in the massive office. The city glowed below them, millions of lights stretching to the horizon. Brianna had cleaned this office hundreds of times, had admired this view while scrubbing floors and emptying trash. She never imagined standing here like this. You were eating my food because you were hungry. Raphael said it as a statement, not a question. How long, Brianna? How long have you been going without meals? I'm fine. That's not what I asked. Brianna pulled her hand from his, wrapping her arms around herself. The gray janitor uniform suddenly felt like a costume, something that revealed too much and hid too little. A few days. It's not a big deal. I had some unexpected expenses. Your grandmother's medication. She nodded. Raphael knew about Grandma Rose. He knew she raised Brianna after her parents died, knew she was the only family Brianna had left, knew the mounting medical bills that came with diabetes and heart problems. Why didn't you ask me for help? Raphael moved closer, his voice dropping low. I'm your husband. Because that's not why I married you. The words burst out before Brianna could stop them. I didn't marry you for money. I didn't marry you so you could take care of me. I married you because I love you, and I need to know that I can stand on my own 2 feet. Even if it means starving? Yes. Raphael's hands curled into fists at his sides. Frustration radiated from him in waves. This wasn't their first argument about money. It probably wouldn't be their last. But something had shifted tonight. The secret was out. The walls were crumbling. I'm calling my family tomorrow, Raphael said. We're telling them everything. And I'm moving you into the penthouse. Raphael? No more hiding. His voice turned gentle but firm. No more pretending we're not married. No more of this, Brianna. Please. I know you want to be independent. I respect that. But you're killing yourself trying to prove a point that nobody asked you to prove. Tears spilled down Brianna's cheeks before she could stop them. 6 months of pressure, of pretending, of being invisible all came crashing down at once. She wasn't sure when she started crying, only that once she started she couldn't stop. Raphael pulled her into his arms and she let him. She buried her face in his chest, breathing in the familiar scent of his cologne mixed with the laundry detergent he used. He held her while she cried, one hand stroking her hair, the other wrapped firmly around her waist. I'm sorry, she whispered against his shirt. I'm so sorry. This isn't how you wanted people to find out. I don't care how they find out anymore. Raphael pressed a kiss to the top of her head. I only care that you're okay. That's all I've ever cared about. They stood there for a long time holding each other in the empty office. Outside, the city buzzed with life. People rushed home to families, to dinners, to normal lives where love didn't have to hide in shadows. Finally, Raphael pulled back enough to look at her face. He wiped away her tears with his thumbs, his touch infinitely gentle. Come home with me tonight. To the penthouse. Just for tonight. Let me feed you. Let me take care of you. Please. Brianna wanted to argue. Wanted to insist on going back to her apartment, maintaining her independence, proving she didn't need him. But the truth was she was exhausted. Tired of fighting. Tired of pretending. Tired of being so hungry she resorted to stealing food from her own husband's office. Okay, she whispered. Just for tonight. Raphael's smile was like sunrise. Just for tonight, he agreed, though they both knew it was a lie. Once she went home with him, once the world knew they were married, there would be no going back to the way things were. He took off his suit jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. It smelled like him, warm and safe. Then he led her to the elevator, his hand never leaving hers. As they descended toward the parking garage, Brianna caught sight of their reflection in the polished elevator doors. A billionaire CEO in a custom suit. A janitor in a gray uniform. They looked like they came from different worlds. Maybe they did. But maybe that didn't matter as much as she thought it did. Spring rain poured from the sky like someone had torn open the clouds. Brianna huddled under the awning of Sterling Heights Corporation, waiting for the downpour to ease enough that she could make her run to the bus stop. Her shift had ended 20 minutes ago, but the storm showed no signs of stopping. The building behind her was mostly dark. Nearly midnight meant only security guards and a few workaholics remained inside. Brianna worked the evening janitorial shift, 4 p.m. to midnight, cleaning offices after everyone went home. It was lonely work, but it paid better than the day shift. A man burst through the revolving doors, gasping. He wore an expensive suit, now soaked through, and his face had gone pale and sweaty. Brianna recognized him immediately. Raphael Bennett. The CEO. The man whose office she cleaned every night, whose coffee cups she emptied, whose life existed in a completely different universe from hers. Sir? Brianna stepped forward as Raphael stumbled. Are you okay? Can't breathe. Raphael clawed at his tie, his chest heaving. His lips were starting to swell. Allergic reaction. Training kicked in. Brianna had taken a basic first aid course 3 years ago at the community center. She grabbed Raphael's arm, steadying him. Do you have an EpiPen? He nodded weakly, patting his jacket pocket. His hands shook too much to retrieve it. Brianna reached into his pocket, found the EpiPen and pulled it out. She had watched the training video a dozen times but never used one in real life. This is going to hurt, she warned, then jabbed the pen against his thigh right through his expensive suit pants. The click was audible even over the rain. Raphael gasped, his body jerking. Brianna held the pen in place, counting to 10 slowly. When she pulled it away, his breathing was already starting to ease. The color began returning to his face. I'm calling 911, Brianna said, pulling out her phone. No. Raphael's voice was raspy but stronger. I'll be okay. This happened before. Just need to sit. Brianna helped him to a bench under the awning. Rain drummed around them, creating a curtain that separated them from the rest of the world. Raphael leaned back, his eyes closed, breathing deeply. Thank you, he said after a moment. You saved my life. Anyone would have done the same thing. But you're the one who did it. Raphael opened his eyes and looked at her. Really looked at her, like she was a person instead of part of the building's furniture. What's your name? Brianna. Brianna Cole. Thank you, Brianna Cole. Raphael smiled and something warm unfurled in Brianna's chest. I'm Raphael. I know who you are, Mr. Bennett. Just Raphael is fine. He sat up straighter, some strength returning. Especially for someone who just saved my life. What triggered the reaction, do you think? What did you eat? Dinner meeting. Seafood restaurant downtown. Raphael grimaced. They promised everything was nut-free. I should have been more careful. You should go to the hospital, Brianna said firmly. EpiPens are just the first step. You need to be monitored. Are you always this bossy with billionaires? Raphael asked, but his tone was teasing warm. Only when they're being stubborn about their health. Raphael laughed, a real laugh that made his eyes crinkle at the corners. Fair enough. I'll call my doctor. He'll send a car to take me to the private clinic. Happy? Getting there. They sat together while Raphael made the call. The rain continued its assault on the city. Brianna knew she should leave, head to the bus stop, get home before the storm got worse. But something kept her there, sitting next to a man who existed in a completely different stratosphere of society. The car will be here in 5 minutes, Raphael said, pocketing his phone. Do you need a ride somewhere? It's the least I can do. The bus stop is just around the corner. In this storm? Raphael shook his head. Please, let me give you a ride home. It's nothing. Every instinct told Brianna to say no. To maintain the distance between them. To remember that he was the CEO and she was just someone who cleaned his office. But the rain showed no mercy, and the bus would probably be delayed anyway. Okay, she said quietly. Thank you. I should be thanking you. Raphael turned to face her more fully. How did you know what to do? The EpiPen, I mean. I took a first aid course. My grandmother has medical issues, so I wanted to be prepared. Brianna pulled her jacket tighter around herself. It was mostly for her. I never thought I'd actually use it on someone else. Tell me about your grandmother. So Brianna did. She told him about Grandma Rose, who raised her after her parents died in a car accident when Brianna was 8. She told him about the diabetes diagnosis, the heart problems, the mounting medical bills that insurance barely covered. She talked about working 2 jobs to make ends meet, about going to community college part-time, about dreams of getting a business degree someday. Raphael listened. Really listened. Not with the polite attention people sometimes gave when they were just waiting for their turn to talk, but with genuine interest. He asked questions. He remembered details. By the time the black town car pulled up, Brianna felt like she had known him for years instead of minutes. The driver helped Raphael into the car, then held the door for Brianna. She slid into leather seats that probably cost more than her monthly rent. Raphael gave the driver her address, then settled back with a sigh. How are you feeling? Brianna asked. Better. Tired but better. Raphael turned to look at her. Can I ask you something? Sure. Why do you work the night shift? You mentioned community college. Most classes are during the day. I work another job during the day. Grocery store cashier. Brianna shrugged. The hours work out. I take classes online when I can. That's a lot. That's life. The car glided through rain-slicked streets. Brianna watched the city pass by through tinted windows. This was how the other half lived. Climate-controlled cars, drivers who knew the best routes, seats so comfortable you could fall asleep. I want to pay you, Raphael said suddenly. What? For saving my life. Name a price. Anger flared hot and quick in Brianna's chest. I don't want your money, Mr. Bennett. I helped you because you needed help. That's what people do. We help each other. I didn't mean to offend you. But you did. Brianna turned to face him. Not everything is about money. Some things people do just because it's the right thing to do. Silence filled the car. The driver turned down Brianna Street, slowing to a stop in front of her building. The rain had eased to a steady drizzle. You're right, Raphael said quietly. I'm sorry. I spend so much time in a world where everything has a price that I forgot some things don't. Some things are just human decency. Brianna's anger cooled. He looked genuinely sorry, genuinely confused by his own behavior. It's okay. No, it's not. But I appreciate you accepting my apology anyway. Raphael reached into his pocket and pulled out a business card. This has my direct line. If you ever need anything, call me. Not because you saved my life. Just because I'd like to know that you're okay. Brianna took the card. Heavy paper stock, embossed lettering. Raphael Bennett, CEO, Sterling Heights Corporation. A phone number written in pen at the bottom. Thank you for the ride, she said. Thank you for my life. Brianna climbed out of the car and ran through the drizzle to her building's entrance. She turned back once to wave. Raphael waved back, smiling through the window. She didn't expect to ever use that phone number. She was wrong. 3 months felt like 3 years and 3 minutes all at once. Brianna held the bouquet of simple daisies, her only wedding accessory besides the white dress she bought on clearance from a department store. The courthouse was quiet on a Tuesday afternoon. Just her, Raphael, 2 witnesses they pulled from the hallway, and a judge who looked like he performed these ceremonies in his sleep. Do you, Raphael Antonio Bennett, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do. Raphael's voice was clear and certain. He wore a navy blue suit, no tie, looking relaxed despite the magnitude of what they were doing. And do you, Brianna Marie Cole, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? Brianna looked at Raphael. 3 months since that rainy night. 3 months of coffee dates that turned into dinners that turned into long walks through the city. 3 months of discovering they liked the same books, the same movies, the same terrible reality TV shows that they both pretended not to watch. 3 months of falling completely, irrevocably in love. But marriage. Marriage was different. Marriage to a billionaire when you were a janitor who cleaned his office. Marriage when his family didn't know she existed. Marriage when the world would judge her, assume things, call her names. Raphael squeezed her hand gently, his eyes asking a silent question. We can stop. We can walk away. Whatever you need. I do, Brianna said, her voice steady and strong. Then by the power vested in me by the state of New York, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride. Raphael cupped Brianna's face in his hands and kissed her softly. The witnesses clapped politely. The judge smiled. Just like that, Brianna's entire life changed. They walked out of the courthouse into afternoon sunshine. Raphael's driver waited at the curb, but Raphael waved him off. Let's walk, he said, taking Brianna's hand. So they walked through the city as husband and wife. Nobody looked at them twice. They were just another couple enjoying the spring weather. No cameras, no reporters, no announcement. Just them. I need to tell you something, Raphael said when they reached a small park. He led her to a bench under a blooming cherry tree. Pink petals drifted down around them like confetti. That sounds serious. It is. Raphael took both her hands in his. I want to keep this quiet for a while. Not forever. Just until I can properly introduce you to my family and the board of directors. Brianna's stomach tightened. How long is a while? A few months. Maybe 6. Raphael rushed on before she could interrupt. I know how it sounds. I know what you're thinking. But this isn't about being ashamed of you. This is about protecting you. Protecting me from what? From everything. Raphael's grip on her hands tightened. My family has certain expectations. The board has opinions about who I should marry. And the media, they'll tear us apart. They'll investigate every part of your life. They'll make up stories, print lies, follow you everywhere. I need time to prepare them to make sure when we go public you're protected. Brianna pulled her hands away. She stood up, walking a few steps toward the cherry tree. Petals caught in her hair. So I'm supposed to what? Pretend we're not married? Keep cleaning your office like nothing changed? You don't have to keep working there. I need to keep working. I have bills. I have Grandma Rose. I can't just quit my job and live off your money. Why not? Raphael stood too, following her. Brianna, you're my wife now. My money is your money. That's how marriage works. Not our marriage. Brianna turned to face him. I don't want your money, Raphael. I want you. Just you. If this is going to work, I need to know that I married you because I love you, not because of what you can give me. So you'll keep living in that apartment? Keep working 2 jobs? Keep struggling? Yes. That's ridiculous. That's non-negotiable. Brianna crossed her arms. I'll keep the marriage secret if that's what you need. But I won't take your money. I won't move into your penthouse. I won't quit my jobs. I need to stand on my own 2 feet. Raphael stared at her for a long moment. Then slowly he nodded. Okay, we'll do it your way. For now. But Brianna, when things get hard, when you need help, promise me you'll ask. I promise. It was a lie and they both knew it. But sometimes love required small lies to keep the peace. Raphael pulled a small box from his pocket. I have something for you. Inside was a simple gold band. Nothing flashy, nothing that would draw attention. Just a plain wedding ring that looked like it cost $50 instead of $50,000. I figured you'd want something subtle, Raphael said, sliding it onto her finger. Something you could hide if you needed to. Brianna looked at the ring on her finger. It felt heavier than it should. Not the medal but what it represented. A secret. A promise. A marriage that existed in shadows. "Thank you," she whispered. They went back to their separate homes that night. Raphael to his penthouse. Brianna to her apartment. Married but apart. Connected but hidden. It felt wrong, but Brianna told herself it was temporary. Just a few months. Just until Raphael could prepare his family and the board. Just until the world was ready for them. She didn't know then that 6 months would feel like 6 years. That keeping the secret would slowly eat away at her confidence, her sense of self. That watching Raphael from afar, seeing other women flirt with him, pretending to be just another employee would nearly destroy her. But that night, lying in bed wearing her wedding ring on a chain around her neck, Brianna was happy. She was married to a man she loved. A man who loved her back. Nothing else mattered. Or so she thought. Month 3 of being secretly married felt like living in a play where only Brianna knew her lines. Everyone else saw her as the quiet janitor who emptied trash bins and scrubbed floors. Nobody looked twice at her. Nobody knew that she went home each night with a wedding ring hidden under her uniform, that her phone held text messages from Raphael that said, "I love you," and "I miss you," and "soon I promise." Soon became a word Brianna started to hate. "You missed a spot." Vanessa Cruz pointed at the corner of the conference room floor without looking up from her phone. She was Raphael's executive assistant, a woman with perfect hair, perfect nails, and a perfect wardrobe that probably cost more than Brianna made in a year. "I'll get it." Brianna pushed her cleaning cart closer, mopping the spot Vanessa indicated. "You know, you really should pay more attention to detail." Vanessa finally looked at her, cool appraisal in her eyes. "Mr. Bennett has very high standards. It would be a shame if you lost your job because you couldn't keep his space clean." Brianna bit her tongue. She wanted to say that Raphael didn't care about a tiny spot on the floor. She wanted to say that Raphael loved her, married her, chose her. But she couldn't. So she just nodded and kept cleaning. Vanessa went back to her phone, but she didn't leave. She stood there, a presence that felt deliberately antagonistic. "Mr. Bennett and I are going to dinner tonight. Japanese restaurant downtown. Very exclusive." Brianna's hands tightened on the mop handle. "That sounds nice." "It is nice. We go out quite often. Business dinners, of course. But..." Vanessa smiled, sharp and cold. "Sometimes they feel like something more. He's such an amazing man. Any woman would be lucky to have him. I'm sure he values you as an employee." Brianna kept her voice neutral, professional. "Oh, I'm sure it's more than that." Vanessa walked toward the door, her heels clicking on the clean floor. A man like Raphael Bennett needs a partner who understands his world. Someone sophisticated. Someone who fits. The door closed behind her, leaving Brianna alone with her cleaning supplies and her breaking heart. She finished mopping in silence, then moved to the next office. And the next. And the next. Each room was empty, quiet, a space where she could finally breathe. Until she reached Raphael's office. He was still there at 9 p.m., working late as usual. Brianna almost turned around, almost came back later. But he looked up and saw her. Their eyes met, and something warm spread through her chest despite everything. "Hi," Raphael said softly. "Hi." Brianna rolled her cart inside. "I can come back if you're busy." "No, stay. Please." Raphael stood from his desk, stretching. "I needed a break anyway." They weren't supposed to interact much at work. Too risky, Raphael said. Too many eyes. But when it was late and the building was mostly empty, they stole these moments. Brief conversations that felt like oxygen after holding her breath all day. "Vanessa mentioned you two have dinner tonight," Brianna said, emptying his trash bin. Raphael's expression shifted. "It's a business dinner. Client meeting." She made it sound different. Vanessa makes everything sound different. Raphael moved closer, lowering his voice. "You know she doesn't mean anything to me. You know that, right?" Brianna nodded, but doubt still gnawed at her. How could she compete with someone like Vanessa? Someone who belonged in Raphael's world, who wore designer clothes and went to fancy dinners and understood board meetings and stock portfolios. "I miss you," Raphael said. "I hate this. I hate pretending we're nothing to each other." "Then stop." "Soon. I promise. I'm working on it." "It's been 3 months." "I know." Raphael ran his fingers through his hair, frustrated. "My father is being difficult. He has someone else in mind for me. Some business merger through marriage thing. I'm trying to make him understand that's not happening. Maybe you should just tell him about me." "I will. When the time is right." When would the time ever be right? Brianna wanted to scream. When would she stop being a secret? When would she stop feeling like she wasn't good enough? I should finish cleaning. Brianna turned back to her cart. Brianna? It's fine. Really. Go to your dinner. I'll see you later. She finished cleaning his office in record time, not looking at him, not speaking. Raphael stood by the window watching her, but he didn't try to stop her when she left. Brianna cried on the bus ride home. Quiet tears that she wiped away before anyone could see. She loved Raphael. She knew he loved her. But love wasn't always enough. Love didn't erase the gap between their worlds. Love didn't make her feel less invisible. Her phone buzzed with a text from Raphael. I canceled dinner. Coming to see you instead. Another text followed. Please let me in when I get there. Please don't shut me out. Brianna stared at the messages. Part of her wanted to ignore them, to punish him for making her feel small. But a bigger part needed to see him, to be held by him, to remember why she agreed to this secret in the first place. Okay, she texted back. Raphael arrived at her apartment an hour later, still in his work suit but with his tie loosened. He looked exhausted and worried and so beautiful that Brianna's breath caught. I'm sorry, he said immediately. I'm sorry for making you wait. I'm sorry for Vanessa. I'm sorry for all of it. Brianna let him in. He pulled her into his arms and she let herself be held. They stood in her tiny apartment, holding each other while the world kept spinning outside. 3 more months, Raphael whispered into her hair. Give me 3 more months. I'm setting everything up. The announcement, the introduction to my family, everything. 3 more months and we can stop hiding. Okay, Brianna agreed, even though 3 months felt like forever. Even though she wasn't sure she could survive 3 more months of watching him from the shadows. But she loved him. So she would try. She had to try. The security guards had left. The office was silent except for the hum of the building's ventilation system. Raphael still held Brianna's hand, but now they were alone with the truth hanging in the air between them. We need to talk about what happens next, Raphael said gently. Brianna nodded, sinking into one of the leather chairs facing his desk. Her legs felt weak. Everything felt surreal. An hour ago, she was stealing food from her husband's office. Now everyone knew she was his wife. Raphael sat beside her instead of behind his desk. Equal ground. That was something Brianna loved about him. He never used his position to make her feel small. Tomorrow the news will spread through the entire company, Raphael said. Louis might keep quiet but word always gets out. By noon everyone will know. They'll think I trapped you. Brianna's voice came out small. They'll think I got pregnant or blackmailed you or something. Let them think whatever they want. I know the truth. You know the truth. That's what matters. Your family doesn't know the truth. Brianna looked at him. You still haven't told them. Raphael had the grace to look ashamed. I was planning to tell them this weekend. I had it all arranged. Dinner at the house. I was going to introduce you properly. Why this weekend? What changed? You changed. Raphael reached for her hand again. These last few months, watching you work yourself to exhaustion, watching you refuse my help, watching you slowly disappear into yourself. I can't do it anymore. I don't care about perfect timing. I don't care about board approval. I care about you. Tears threatened again. Brianna blinked them back. I was so hungry, she admitted. I haven't eaten since yesterday morning. I gave all my money to Grandma Rose's pharmacy. Her insurance denied her heart medication. I had to cover it. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted to handle it myself. You're so stubborn. Raphael's voice held affection despite the words. Let me give you my credit card. Let me set up an account for you. Please. Every instinct screamed at Brianna to refuse. But she was tired. So tired of struggling alone. So tired of proving she didn't need help when she clearly did. Okay, she whispered. Raphael's eyes widened. Okay. I'll take the credit card. I'll let you help with Grandma Rose's bills. I'll stop being so stubborn about money. Brianna met his gaze steadily. But I still want to work. Maybe not as a janitor, but I need something. Something that's mine. What if I told you I have an idea about that? I'm listening. Raphael leaned forward, excitement creeping into his voice. Sterling Heights has been wanting to start a community outreach program. Something that helps low-income workers access education and advancement opportunities. I've been looking for someone to head that program. Someone who understands what it's like to struggle. Someone with compassion and drive. Brianna's heart started beating faster. You want me to run a program? I want you to build a program. From the ground up. You'd have full control, a real salary and office. You could help people the way you helped yourself. The way you helped me that night in the rain was perfect. Too perfect. Raphael, people will say you gave me the job because I'm your wife. Probably. Let them. You're qualified. You're perfect for this. And honestly, being my wife means you have insight into how this company works that most people never get. Use it. Turn it into something good. Brianna let herself imagine it. An office of her own. The ability to help people who were just like her, struggling to make ends meet while dreaming of something better. A purpose beyond just surviving. Can I think about it? She asked. Take all the time you need. Raphael stood, pulling her up with him. But right now I'm taking you home. To my home. Our home. And I'm feeding you a proper meal. What about my apartment? We'll get your things tomorrow. Tonight you're with me. Brianna didn't argue. She was too tired, too hungry, too emotionally wrung out to fight anymore. She let Raphael lead her to the elevator, down to the parking garage where his car waited. The drive to his penthouse took 15 minutes. Brianna had never been there before. He described it during their phone calls, but seeing it was different. The building was all glass and steel, reaching toward the sky like a statement of wealth and power. The doorman greeted Raphael by name, his eyes flickering to Brianna with curiosity but no judgment. The elevator required a key card to access the penthouse level. Everything about this place screamed exclusive, expensive, beyond reach. The penthouse itself was beautiful. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Sleek furniture in blacks and grays. A kitchen that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Too perfect. Too intimidating. I know it's a lot, Raphael said, watching her face. We can change anything you want. Redecorate. Make it feel more like home. It's lovely. But it's not me. Brianna turned to face him. This is your world, Raphael. I'm still trying to figure out how I fit into it. You fit perfectly. Raphael moved closer, cupping her face. I don't care about any of this. The penthouse, the company, the money. I care about you. Only you. He kissed her then, soft and sweet and full of promise. Brianna kissed him back, letting herself believe for a moment that it really could be that simple. Let me cook you something, Raphael said when they broke apart. Sit. Relax. Let me take care of you. Brianna sat on a bar stool at the kitchen island while Raphael moved around the kitchen with surprising competence. He made pasta with vegetables, garlic bread, a simple salad. Nothing fancy, but it smelled like heaven. They ate together, talking about everything and nothing. Raphael told her about his childhood, growing up with wealth but also with pressure. She told him about her dreams of getting a business degree, of maybe one day starting a nonprofit. You could do that now, Raphael said. The community outreach program could be the start. Build it into something bigger. I'll support you however you need. You really believe in me? Of course I do. You're the strongest person I know. After dinner, Raphael showed her around the penthouse. The bedroom with its massive bed and view of the city. The bathroom with a tub big enough for two. The spare room he already planned to convert into an office for her. This can be yours, he said. Your space. Whatever you want to do with it. Brianna stood in the empty room, imagining it filled with her things. Books and plants and maybe a desk where she could study. A space that was hers in a home that was theirs. Thank you, she said quietly. For everything. For not giving up on me when I was being difficult. You're worth fighting for. Raphael wrapped his arms around her from behind. Always. They stood there, looking out at the city lights, husband and wife finally in the same place. Tomorrow would bring challenges. His family. The company. The world finding out about their secret marriage. But tonight they had each other. And maybe that was enough. Saturday morning arrived too quickly. Brianna stood in front of the bathroom mirror, adjusting her dress for the 5th time. It was simple, a blue sundress she bought yesterday with Raphael's credit card. He insisted she get something new, something that made her feel confident. She didn't feel confident. She felt terrified. You look beautiful. Raphael appeared in the doorway, already dressed in slacks and a button-down shirt. Casual but polished. Everything about him radiated easy confidence. What if they hate me? They won't hate you. Raphael moved behind her, meeting her eyes in the mirror. My mother is going to love you. My father will be suspicious because that's just who he is. And my sister Amy will probably ask you a million questions. That's not helping. Raphael laughed, pressing a kiss to her shoulder. They're good people, Brianna. They just want me to be happy. And you make me happy. They'll see that. The drive to the Bennett family home took 45 minutes. They left the city behind, trading skyscrapers for tree-lined streets and houses that looked like museums. Raphael's childhood home sat on 3 acres of perfectly manicured lawn, a sprawling estate that made Brianna's stomach clench with nerves. "I grew up here," Raphael said, pulling into the circular driveway. "I know it looks intimidating, but it's just a house. Just bricks and mortar. Just a house that probably cost more than Brianna would make in 10 lifetimes." The front door opened before they could knock. A woman in her late 50s appeared, her face lighting up when she saw Raphael. She was beautiful, with silver threading through her dark hair and kind eyes that immediately landed on Brianna. "Mom, this is Brianna," Raphael said. "My wife." Patricia Bennett's eyes widened. Then, to Brianna's shock, she smiled. A real, genuine smile that reached her eyes. "Your wife?" "Raphael, when did this happen?" "6 months ago. I know I should have told you sooner. I'm sorry." Patricia waved off his apology, stepping forward to take Brianna's hands. "Welcome to the family, dear. Come in, come in. George, Amy, get out here." They were ushered into a living room that looked like something from a design magazine. Leather sofas, expensive art, a fireplace that could fit a person inside it. But despite the grandeur, something about the space felt warm. Lived in. George Bennett appeared from the hallway, a tall man with Raphael's eyes and a stern expression. Behind him came Amy, a young woman in her early 20s with a bright smile and curious eyes. "Dad, Amy, this is Brianna. My wife." Raphael kept his arm around Brianna's waist, solid and reassuring. The silence that followed felt like an eternity. George stared at them both, his expression unreadable. Amy's mouth had fallen open in shock. Then Patricia laughed. A rich, delighted sound that broke the tension. "I knew it. I knew something had you smiling at your phone all the time." "Oh, this is wonderful." "Wonderful." George found his voice. "Patricia, they got married in secret. Without telling us. Without any family present." "How is that wonderful?" "Because he's happy, George. Look at him. When's the last time you saw our son smile like that?" Brianna glanced at Raphael. He was smiling, a soft, genuine expression that transformed his whole face. She hadn't realized how much lighter he looked here in his family home, with the secret finally out. "I'm sorry we didn't tell you sooner," Brianna said, finding her voice. "That was my fault. I asked Raphael to wait." "Why?" Amy moved closer, her eyes bright with curiosity. "Why keep it secret?" "Because I was scared." Brianna met their gazes one by one. "I'm not from your world. I was a janitor. I still am, technically. I didn't want Raphael's family to think I was after his money. I wanted time to prove that I love him for who he is, not what he has." Silence again. But this time it felt different. Softer. "You were a janitor?" Patricia asked gently. "At Sterling Heights. That's how we met. I saved his life when he had an allergic reaction." "You saved his life?" Amy practically bounced. "That's so romantic. Tell me everything." So Brianna did. She told them about the rainy night, the EpiPen, the ride home. She told them about falling in love over coffee dates and long walks. She told them about the courthouse wedding and the 6 months of hiding. Patricia listened with tears in her eyes. Amy hung on every word. Even George's expression softened as the story unfolded. "Why didn't you come to us?" Patricia asked when Brianna finished. "We could have helped. We could have made this easier. I didn't want to need help." Brianna's voice cracked. "I wanted to earn my place in Raphael's life. I wanted to know that I was enough on my own." "Oh, honey." Patricia pulled Brianna into a hug. A real hug, warm and maternal, and everything Brianna had been missing since her own mother died. "You are enough. You've always been enough. And anyone who makes my son this happy is more than welcome in this family." Brianna hugged her back, tears streaming down her face. She hadn't realized how much she needed this acceptance, this welcome. "What about you, Dad?" Raphael asked quietly. "What do you think?" George was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed. "I think you should have told us sooner. I think you put yourselves through unnecessary pain by keeping this secret. But..." He looked at Brianna. "I also think that anyone willing to wait 6 months just to prove they love my son for the right reasons is someone worth knowing." He extended his hand to Brianna. She shook it, grateful beyond words. "Now," Patricia said, wiping her eyes, "let's have lunch. I want to know everything about you, Brianna. Your family, your dreams, your favorite foods. Everything." Lunch turned into the afternoon. They sat in the dining room with its long table and expensive china, but the conversation was warm and real. Brianna told them about Grandma Rose, about growing up after her parents died, about working multiple jobs to make ends meet. Patricia listened with compassion. George asked intelligent questions about her goals and aspirations. Amy declared that Brianna was now her favorite sister-in-law, despite being the only one. Raphael told me about the community outreach program, Patricia said over dessert. That's wonderful work you're planning. I haven't accepted the position yet, Brianna admitted. Why not? George asked. Because people will say Raphael only gave it to me because I'm his wife. Let them say it. George's voice was firm. People will always talk. The question is whether you're going to let their opinions stop you from doing good work. Because from what I've heard, you're exactly the person that program needs. Your father's right, Patricia added. You have lived experience. You understand what it means to struggle. That's invaluable. Don't let fear or pride keep you from using your gifts to help others. Brianna looked at Raphael. He smiled, squeezing her hand under the table. What do you think? He asked. I think. Brianna took a deep breath. I think I want to accept. I want to build something real. Something that helps people like me. Patricia beamed. Amy clapped. George nodded approvingly. And Raphael's smile could have lit up the entire room. As they were leaving, Patricia pulled Brianna aside. Thank you, she said quietly. For what? For loving my son. For seeing past the money and the power to the man underneath. For making him happy. Patricia squeezed Brianna's hands. You're exactly what he needed. What our family needed. Brianna hugged her again, this time without tears. Just gratitude and relief and the beginning of something that felt like belonging. On the drive home, Raphael was quiet. Content. He held Brianna's hand while he drove, occasionally glancing at her with a soft smile. Thank you for today, he said. Your family is wonderful. They love you already. I knew they would. Raphael brought her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles. Now comes the hard part. Telling the board. Making the public announcement. One step at a time, Brianna said. We'll figure it out together. Together, Raphael agreed. I like the sound of that. Monday morning felt like walking into a completely different world. Brianna arrived at Sterling Heights Corporation at 8 a.m., dressed in new clothes from her shopping trip with Raphael. A professional blouse, tailored pants, actual office shoes instead of her janitor's sneakers. She felt like she was wearing a costume. The security guard at the front desk did a double take when he saw her. Mrs. Bennett? Good morning. Mrs. Bennett. The name felt foreign and right at the same time. Good morning, Marcus. She used his name deliberately. She remembered him from her night shifts, remembered that he had 3 kids and took online classes in criminal justice. His eyes widened with surprise that she remembered. Mr. Bennett is expecting you. Top floor. The elevator ride felt longer than usual. Brianna watched the numbers climb, her stomach fluttering with nerves. Raphael had called a company-wide meeting for 9 a.m. He planned to announce their marriage officially. No more hiding. No more secrets. The 40th floor was already buzzing with activity when Brianna stepped off the elevator. Employees rushed past with coffee and folders. Nobody looked at her twice. Why would they? They still saw her as the janitor if they saw her at all. Brianna. Raphael appeared from his office, smiling. He wore a sharp gray suit that made him look every inch the powerful CEO. But his eyes softened when he looked at her. You look beautiful. I feel nervous. That makes 2 of us. Raphael led her into his office. I've prepared a statement for the meeting. I'll announce our marriage, explain the timeline, and introduce you properly. Then we'll field questions. What kind of questions? Probably invasive ones. Rude ones. People will want to know everything. Raphael's jaw tightened. I'll shut down anything inappropriate. You don't have to answer anything you don't want to. They spent the next hour preparing. Raphael showed her the statement he planned to read. It was professional but warm, explaining their relationship without sharing too many intimate details. He would announce her new position as Director of Community Outreach. He would make it clear that any disrespect toward her would not be tolerated. At 8:55 they walked to the conference room together. Employees filled every seat, packed into the large space with curious expressions. Conversations died when Raphael and Brianna entered. Raphael took his place at the front of the room. Brianna stood beside him, trying to project confidence she didn't feel. She recognized faces in the crowd. People whose offices she cleaned. People who never looked at her. People who were looking now. Thank you all for coming, Raphael began. His voice carried authority that commanded attention. I have an important announcement to make. 6 months ago, I married the woman standing beside me. Brianna Cole, now Brianna Bennett. Gasps rippled through the room. Shocked faces. Wide eyes. Someone dropped their coffee cup. Raphael continued calmly. I know this comes as a surprise. We chose to keep our marriage private for personal reasons. But I'm done hiding the most important relationship in my life. Brianna is my wife. She deserves respect and recognition as such. She's the janitor, someone said from the back. Brianna couldn't see who. She was a janitor, Raphael corrected, his voice turning steel. She will now be our director of community outreach. She'll be building a program to help employees access education and advancement opportunities. She's uniquely qualified for this role because she understands what it means to work hard, to struggle, to dream of something better. Vanessa Cruz stood up from her seat near the front. Her face was pale, her expression furious. Mr. Bennett, with all due respect, this seems highly irregular. Hiring your wife. I'm hiring the best person for the job. Her being my wife is secondary to her qualifications. What qualifications does a janitor have to run a major company program? Brianna felt Raphael tense beside her. She put a hand on his arm, stepping forward. I'll answer that. Raphael looked at her, surprised. She gave him a small nod. She could do this. She had to do this. I grew up poor, Brianna said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. I lost my parents young. I worked 2 jobs while taking community college classes. I know what it's like to choose between buying food and buying textbooks. I know what it's like to show up for a night shift after working all day somewhere else. I know what it's like to have dreams but no clear path to reach them. She met Vanessa's eyes directly. You're right that I was a janitor. I cleaned these offices. I emptied your trash. And while I did that, I watched this company. I saw the gaps. I saw employees who wanted to advance but had no resources. I saw potential being wasted because people didn't have the right support or opportunities. Brianna turned to address the whole room. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm not pretending I have all the answers. But I understand the problems we're trying to solve because I lived them. And I promise you, I will work harder than anyone to build a program that actually helps people. Silence filled the conference room. Then someone started clapping. Then another. Then another. Within seconds, most of the room was applauding. Vanessa sat down, her face red. Raphael squeezed Brianna's hand, pride written all over his face. Thank you all for your support. If anyone has concerns or questions, my door is open. But I expect everyone to treat Brianna with the same professional respect you'd show any other director. Understood. Murmurs of agreement filled the room. The meeting ended. Employees filed out, many stopping to congratulate Brianna. Some looked genuine. Others looked calculating, probably wondering how they could benefit from befriending the CEO's wife. You were amazing, Raphael said when they were finally alone. I was terrified. You didn't show it. Raphael pulled her close. Come on. Let me show you your new office. He led her down the hall to a corner office with windows overlooking the city. It was smaller than Raphael's but still spacious, with a desk, chairs and empty bookshelves waiting to be filled. This is yours, Raphael said. Decorate it however you want. Make it your space. Brianna walked to the window looking out at the city below. Somewhere down there was her old apartment. The grocery store where she worked. The bus stops where she waited in rain and snow. That life felt like it belonged to someone else now. Thank you, she whispered. Don't thank me. You earned this. Raphael came to stand beside her. Now comes the real work. Building the program, hiring staff, making your vision real. I'll support you however I can, but this is your project. Your success. What if I fail? Then you'll try again. That's what we do. We try, we learn, we grow. Raphael turned her to face him. You're going to do amazing things, Brianna. I believe that with everything in me. Later that day, after meetings and planning sessions and more congratulations from people she barely knew, Brianna sat alone in her new office. She pulled out her phone and called Grandma Rose. Baby girl, her grandmother answered, her voice warm and familiar. How are you doing? I have so much to tell you. Brianna told her everything. The secret marriage. Raphael's family. The new job. Grandma Rose listened without interrupting, the way she always did. I'm proud of you, she said when Brianna finished. Not for marrying rich. Not for getting a fancy office. I'm proud of you for staying true to yourself. For not letting money change who you are. I'm scared, Grandma. What if I mess this up? Then you'll unmess it. You're a coal woman. We don't give up. We don't back down. And we sure don't let fear stop us from doing good in this world. Brianna smiled through tears. I love you. I love you too, baby. Now go show that company what you're made of. That evening, Raphael and Brianna cooked dinner together in the penthouse. Something normal, something that felt like real life. They talked about her first day, about the program she wanted to build, about all the possibilities ahead. "I want to offer scholarships," Brianna said, stirring pasta sauce. "And mentorship programs. And childcare assistance for parents going back to school. I want to remove every barrier I can." "Do it," Raphael encouraged. "Whatever you need, however much it costs, it's yours. This is going to take time to build right. We have time. We have all the time in the world." Raphael wrapped his arms around her from behind. "And we're going to do it together. Before we continue, let me ask you something. Have you ever had someone believe in you when you didn't believe in yourself? Share your story in the comments. And if you're enjoying Brianna's journey, please subscribe so you don't miss what happens next." 3 weeks into her new role, Brianna started to find her rhythm. She hired 2 assistants, both women who had worked their way up from entry-level positions. She researched scholarship programs, talked to education consultants, and began building partnerships with local colleges. But not everyone was happy about her success. "Did you hear about the gala?" her assistant Kelly asked one morning, bringing in coffee. "What gala?" "The annual Sterling Heights Charity Gala. It's next week. Mr. Bennett hasn't announced who's going yet, but usually he brings Vanessa." Brianna's stomach dropped. "He brings his assistant to formal events?" "Well, she handles all his scheduling and coordination. So she usually goes to help manage things." Kelly hesitated. "But you're his wife. Surely he'll bring you this year." Brianna hadn't even known about a gala. Raphael hadn't mentioned it. Was he planning to bring Vanessa? Why wouldn't he tell her? She spent the morning trying to focus on work, but the question nagged at her. Finally, during lunch, she went to Raphael's office. He was on a conference call but gestured for her to come in and sit. She waited while he finished discussing quarterly projections, watching him in his element. Confident, intelligent, commanding respect from everyone on the call. "Sorry about that," he said when he hung up. "What's up?" "There's a gala next week." Raphael's expression shifted. Guilt flickered across his face. "Right. The charity gala. I meant to tell you about that. Were you planning to bring me?" "Of course I was. I know you don't have a formal gown yet, and I didn't want to pressure you into buying something you might not feel comfortable in. I was going to ask you tonight, give you time to think about it." Brianna relaxed slightly. "Kelly mentioned you usually bring Vanessa. For work purposes. She coordinates logistics." Raphael stood, moving around his desk to sit beside Brianna. "But that was before. You're my wife. Of course you're coming with me. Vanessa will still handle coordination, but she won't be my date." "Has anyone told Vanessa that?" "I assume she knew." They both realized the problem at the same time. Vanessa didn't know. And she would find out in the worst possible way. "I'll talk to her," Raphael said firmly. "Today. I'll make it clear." But when Raphael called Vanessa into his office that afternoon, things went worse than expected. Brianna was in a meeting with potential scholarship partners when she heard raised voices down the hall. By the time she finished her meeting, half the floor was whispering. "Vanessa just quit," Kelly told her quietly. "Or Mr. Bennett fired her. Nobody's sure which. But she left in tears, saying terrible things." Brianna's heart sank. She found Raphael in his office, looking frustrated and tired. "What happened?" "She didn't take it well." Raphael rubbed his face. "She said some things. Accused you of manipulating me, said you were a gold digger, claimed you've ruined her career prospects. I told her she could either apologize or leave. She chose to leave." "Raphael, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cause problems." "You didn't cause anything. Vanessa's feelings are her own responsibility." But Raphael still looked troubled. "She said she's going to make sure everyone knows the truth about us. Whatever that means." They found out what it meant 2 days later when gossip blogs started running stories. Anonymous sources claimed Brianna had trapped Raphael by getting pregnant, then lost the baby but convinced him to marry her anyway out of guilt. Other stories said she blackmailed him with photos or threatened to sue for harassment. None of it was true. All of it was devastating. Brianna tried to ignore the stories, but they were everywhere. Employees whispered when she walked past. Clients asked Raphael about them in meetings. The media camped outside Sterling Heights, hoping for a statement. "We should respond," Raphael insisted. "We should set the record straight. That will just make it worse. It'll confirm the stories exist. Doing nothing makes it look like they're true." They were still arguing about it when Patricia Bennett called. "I'm coming over," she announced. "Don't argue. I'll be there in 30 minutes. Patricia arrived with Amy in tow. They brought food, wine, and fierce determination. Show me the stories, Patricia demanded. Brianna pulled them up on her laptop. Patricia read in silence, her expression growing darker with each article. This is slander, she said finally. We could sue. That would drag everything out for years, Raphael pointed out. Keep it in the news cycle. That's probably what Vanessa wants. So what do we do? Amy asked. We rise above it, Patricia said firmly. We go to the gala. We show everyone that these stories are beneath our notice. We present a united front. Mom's right, Amy added. The best way to fight gossip is to be so happy and confident that it becomes obvious the gossip is lies. What if people confront us? Brianna asked quietly. Then we smile and change the subject. Patricia took Brianna's hand. I know this is hard. But you've done nothing wrong. You have nothing to hide. Hold your head high and let your character speak for itself. The night of the gala arrived. Brianna wore a deep red gown that Patricia helped her choose. It was elegant without being flashy, beautiful without trying too hard. Her hair was styled in soft curls, her makeup natural but polished. You look like a princess, Amy said, adjusting Brianna's necklace. She and Patricia had come over to help Brianna get ready, turning it into a bonding experience. I feel like an imposter. Good, Patricia said. That means you're humble. But tonight you need to project confidence. Fake it if you have to. Don't let them see you sweat. Raphael arrived to pick her up, looking devastating in his tuxedo. His eyes widened when he saw her. Wow. Good wow or bad wow? The best wow. He crossed to her, taking her hands. You're going to be the most beautiful woman there. The gala was held at a luxury hotel downtown. The ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers and gold accents. Men in tuxedos and women in designer gowns mingled with champagne glasses, laughter echoing off the high ceilings. Brianna held tight to Raphael's arm as they entered. Conversations paused. Heads turned. She felt 1,000 eyes assessing her, judging her, finding her wanting. Then Patricia appeared at her other side, linking her arm through Brianna's. Smile, she whispered. You're a Bennett now. Act like it. They made their rounds together. Patricia introduced Brianna to board members, business partners, and society figures. George Bennett joined them, adding his approval to his wife's warm welcome. Amy charmed everyone with stories about getting to know her new sister-in-law. Slowly the tide began to turn. People saw Brianna's grace, her intelligence, her genuine kindness. They saw how Raphael looked at her, how his family embraced her, how she handled awkward questions with dignity. Vanessa was there. Brianna spotted her across the room, wearing black and glaring daggers. She was with a group of people, clearly talking about something that made them keep looking toward Brianna. Ignore her, Raphael murmured. But halfway through dinner, Vanessa approached their table. She swayed slightly, her champagne glass nearly empty. Well, if it isn't the happy couple. Vanessa. Raphael's voice held a warning. This isn't the time. No? When is the time, Raphael? When is the time to tell everyone how she manipulated you? How she trapped you? The nearby tables went silent. Everyone was watching now. Patricia Bennett stood up, her expression calm but her voice like ice. Miss Cruz, I think you've had too much to drink. Perhaps you should leave. I'm not drunk. I'm just telling the truth. The truth? Patricia's voice cut through the tension like a knife. The truth is that my son married a wonderful woman who makes him happy. The truth is that you're jealous and spiteful. The truth is that you're making a scene at a charity event, which says far more about your character than it does about anyone else's. Vanessa's face flushed red. You don't know what you're talking about. I know that my son is a grown man who makes his own choices. I know that Brianna has been nothing but gracious despite facing unwarranted attacks. And I know that you need to leave. Now. Security appeared, summoned by a nod from George. They escorted a protesting Vanessa from the ballroom. Conversation slowly resumed. The moment passed. Patricia sat back down, taking a calm sip of her wine like nothing had happened. Under the table, she squeezed Brianna's hand. You did beautifully, dear. Didn't say a word, kept your composure. Perfect. Later, during dancing, Raphael held Brianna close. I'm sorry about that. It's not your fault. I should have seen how she felt. I should have been more careful. We can't control other people's feelings. Brianna leaned her head against his chest. We can only control our own actions. And we acted with integrity. When did you get so wise? I learned from watching you. They danced under the chandeliers, surrounded by people who were starting to accept them. Not everyone would. Some people would always believe the gossip, always question their relationship. But enough people saw the truth. Enough people saw the love. And that was enough. 6 months after the gala, Brianna stood in front of the first class of scholarship recipients. 20 employees, ranging from 19 to 54 years old, all eager to start college courses funded by the Worker Advancement Program. "You're here because you want something better," Brianna told them. "Not because better is handed to you, but because you're willing to work for it. This program doesn't guarantee success. It guarantees opportunity. What you do with that opportunity is up to you." The class clapped. Brianna saw herself in each of their faces. The hope, the fear, the determination to change their circumstances. Kelly appeared in the doorway, pointing at her watch. Brianna had another meeting in 10 minutes. The past 6 months had been a whirlwind. Building the program from scratch meant long hours, difficult decisions, and constant problem-solving. But it also meant watching lives change. The single mother who could finally take evening classes because the program provided childcare. The warehouse worker who discovered a passion for computer science. The security guard who was now studying business management. "How was the class?" Raphael asked when Brianna met him for lunch in his office. "Perfect. Terrifying. Amazing." Brianna sank into the chair across from his desk. "I can't believe it's real. 6 months ago I was eating stolen sandwiches. Now I'm running a program that's changing lives." "You're changing lives," Raphael corrected. "The program is just the vehicle. You're the force behind it." They ate lunch together most days now, stealing time in busy schedules. Raphael never hovered or micromanaged. He trusted Brianna to run her program her way. But he was always there when she needed advice, support, or just someone to listen. "I got an email from a reporter," Brianna mentioned. "She wants to do a feature on the program for a business magazine." "That's great. She also wants to talk about us. The marriage. How we met." Raphael set down his sandwich. "How do you feel about that?" "I don't know. Part of me wants to share our story. Show people that love doesn't care about bank accounts or job titles. But part of me worries it'll overshadow the program. Make it about me instead of about the people we're helping. Tell her you'll do the interview, but the focus has to be on the program first. Our story can be part of it, but it shouldn't be the whole thing. You're okay with that? Sharing everything publicly?" Raphael reached across the desk to take her hand. "I've wanted to shout about us from the rooftops since the day I met you. If some reporter wants to help me do that, I'm all for it." The interview happened 2 weeks later. The reporter, Christine Young, was thorough but fair. She interviewed scholarship recipients, program staff, and both Raphael and Brianna. The article that came out the following month was beautiful. It focused on the program's impact while weaving in Brianna and Raphael's love story as an example of looking beyond surface judgments. The response was overwhelming. Other companies called, wanting to create similar programs. Universities reached out offering partnerships. Donations poured in from people inspired by the story. "You're famous," Amy teased when she came over for dinner one night. "I'm not famous. The program is getting attention." "That's different. People magazine wants to interview you. That's pretty famous." Brianna ignored her, focusing on stirring the pasta sauce. She and Raphael had hosted weekly dinners lately, inviting family and friends. The penthouse that once felt too perfect, too sterile, was slowly becoming a real home. Photos on the walls. Plants in the corners. Laughter filling the rooms. "How's Grandma Rose doing?" Patricia asked. She had bonded with Brianna's grandmother, visiting her regularly and bringing books and conversation. "Much better. Her new medication is working well. And she loves her new apartment." Raphael had insisted on moving Grandma Rose to a better place with on-site medical care. For once, Brianna hadn't argued. Some help needed to be accepted with gratitude. Dinner was loud and warm, filled with stories and laughter. George Bennett told terrible dad jokes. Amy shared college gossip. Patricia and Brianna planned the next charity gala, with Brianna now involved in the planning committee. After everyone left, Brianna and Raphael cleaned up together. It was domestic and ordinary and absolutely perfect. "I have something to tell you," Raphael said as they finished loading the dishwasher. Brianna's heart skipped. "Good something or bad something?" "Good something. Great something." Raphael pulled her close. "The board approved a major expansion of your program. Triple the budget. Partnerships with 5 more colleges. Potential to help hundreds more people." Brianna's eyes widened. "Triple the budget? You've proven it works. The data is undeniable." Employee retention is up. Satisfaction scores are higher. People are advancing within the company instead of leaving for opportunities elsewhere. Raphael grinned. You did this. You built something that makes a real difference. Brianna threw her arms around him, laughing and crying at the same time. A year ago she was invisible. Nobody. Now she was changing lives, building something meaningful, making a real impact. I couldn't have done it without you, she said. Yes, you could have. Maybe not here, maybe not this quickly. But you would have found a way. That's who you are. Raphael kissed her forehead. You're a force, Brianna Bennett. And I'm so proud to be your husband. Later, lying in bed with city lights glowing through the windows, Brianna reflected on how far they'd come. The secret marriage that nearly destroyed them. The public revelation that threatened to define them. The gossip, the doubts, the struggles. All of it led here. To this moment. To this life they built together. What are you thinking about? Raphael asked, his fingers tracing patterns on her shoulder. How different everything is from a year ago. How scared I was. How sure I was that accepting help meant weakness. And now I know that accepting help is just another form of strength. It means being brave enough to admit you can't do everything alone. It means trusting people to support you without expecting anything in return. That's very wise. I learned it from you. Brianna turned to face him. Thank you for not giving up on me when I was being stubborn. Thank you for believing in me even when I didn't believe in myself. Always, Raphael promised. I'll always believe in you. They fell asleep tangled together, secure in the knowledge that whatever challenges came next, they would face them together. The Sterling Heights auditorium was packed. Every seat filled, people standing along the walls, cameras positioned to capture the ceremony. Brianna stood backstage adjusting her graduation cap. She had finally completed her business degree, taking classes online while running the worker advancement program. You ready? Raphael appeared beside her, looking proud enough to burst. I'm terrified. You're giving a speech to 500 people. That's terrifying for anyone. What if I forget my words? What if I freeze? Then you'll take a breath and start again. But you won't freeze. You're going to be amazing. The ceremony began. Students filed onto the stage in their caps and gowns. Faculty members gave speeches about achievement and potential. Finally, the dean called Brianna's name. Brianna Bennett graduated summa cum laude with a degree in business management. She will now deliver our student address. Brianna walked to the podium on shaking legs. The crowd was a sea of faces. She found Raphael in the front row, sitting with his family. Grandma Rose was there too, beaming with pride. She took a breath and began. A year and a half ago I was a janitor. I worked night shifts cleaning offices, invisible to most people who walked past me. I was hungry, tired, and convinced that dreams were for other people. People with money. People with connections. People who weren't me. The audience was silent, listening. Then something changed. Not because someone rescued me. Not because I won the lottery or caught a lucky break. But because I learned to accept help when it was offered. I learned that asking for support isn't weakness. I learned that community lifts us higher than we could ever climb alone. Brianna looked directly at Raphael. My husband believed in me before I believed in myself. His family welcomed me when I expected rejection. Strangers offered opportunities when I was sure I wasn't qualified. And slowly I learned to say yes instead of no. Yes to scholarships. Yes to chances. Yes to becoming someone new while staying true to who I've always been. She shifted her attention to the other graduates. We're here because we worked hard. But we're also here because someone helped us. A teacher who stayed late. A family member who believed in us. A program that removed barriers. A friend who wouldn't let us quit. We didn't do this alone. None of us did. Brianna's voice strengthened. As we leave here today, remember that. Remember to accept help with gratitude. Remember to offer help without expectations. Remember that we rise together or not at all. The applause was thunderous. Brianna returned to her seat, her hands still shaking but her heart full. She had done it. She actually did it. After the ceremony there was a reception. Patricia had organized a massive celebration, inviting everyone from Brianna's life. Scholarship recipients, program staff, Raphael's business partners, Grandma Rose's friends from her building. The room buzzed with conversation and laughter. I'm so proud of you, baby girl, Grandma Rose said, hugging Brianna tight. Your parents would be too. I wish they could see this. Oh, they see it. I guarantee you they're watching and smiling. Amy presented Brianna with a scrapbook she'd made, documenting the past year in photos and clippings. There was Brianna at her first board meeting. The article about the worker advancement program. Photos from the gala. Candid shots of family dinners and quiet moments. So you never forget how far you've come, Amy said. George Bennett gave a toast. To Brianna, who showed this old businessman that success isn't just about profit margins. It's about making a real difference in people's lives. Welcome to the family, truly and completely. Everyone cheered. Brianna wiped away happy tears. Late in the evening, Raphael pulled her away from the crowd. They stood on a balcony overlooking the same city that had seemed so intimidating a year ago. I have something for you, Raphael said, pulling out a small box. Raphael, you already gave me the graduation present. He had gifted her a foundation grant to expand the program even further. This is different. He opened the box. Inside was a key. To our new house. Our what? I bought us a house. Not a penthouse. A real house with a yard and enough room to grow. Raphael's eyes were soft. I know you've grown to like the penthouse, but I thought maybe we could use more space. 4 family dinners. For guests. He paused. For a nursery eventually. If you want that. Brianna's breath caught. You want kids. I want everything with you. Kids, a house full of noise, Sunday morning pancakes, all of it. Raphael cupped her face. What do you think? I think. Brianna kissed him, pouring all her love and gratitude and joy into it. I think yes. Yes to the house. Yes to the future. Yes to all of it. They stood together watching the city lights, planning a future that once seemed impossible. A future built on love, trust, and the courage to accept help when it was offered. 3 months later, Brianna stood in the new house, directing furniture placement. The space was bright and warm, with big windows and comfortable rooms. Nothing ostentatious. Just a home. Her phone buzzed with a text from Raphael. Doctor's appointment confirmed for next week. Love you. Brianna smiled, touching her still flat stomach. They had found out 2 weeks ago. Baby was coming. New life, new adventures, new reasons to keep building a world where help was offered freely and accepted with gratitude. The doorbell rang. Patricia and Amy arrived with lunch and decorating ideas. They spent the afternoon making the house feel lived in, filling it with laughter and love. Have you told Grandma Rose yet? Patricia asked. Tomorrow. Raphael and I are taking her to lunch. Brianna arranged flowers in a vase. She's going to cry. Happy tears, but still tears. As will I when you officially tell me, Patricia said, her eyes twinkling. I may have noticed you turning down wine at dinner last week. Brianna laughed. You're too observant. I'm going to be a grandmother again. Of course I'm observant. That evening, Raphael came home to a house filled with warmth. Music played from speakers they were still figuring out how to work properly. Something delicious cooked in the oven. Brianna danced in the kitchen, happy and free. This is nice, Raphael said, pulling her into his arms. This feels like home. It is home. Our home. Built on love and second chances and learning to say yes. They danced in the kitchen, 2 people from different worlds who found each other on a rainy night. A billionaire and a janitor who became partners equals a team. 6 months later, Brianna stood at a podium again. This time for the annual Worker Advancement Program graduation. 50 students this year, double the last class. More lives changed. More dreams realized. You all worked hard to be here, Brianna told them, one hand resting on her now visible baby bump. But you also accepted help. You said yes to opportunity. You trusted that you deserved a chance. Take that lesson with you. Keep saying yes. Keep accepting help. Keep offering it to others. Together we can change the world. Raphael watched from the audience, his parents on either side of him. Grandma Rose sat in the front row, healthy and beaming. Amy recorded everything on her phone, already planning to add it to her ongoing scrapbook of Brianna's journey. After the ceremony, they all went to the new house for dinner. The dining room table was finally big enough for everyone. Laughter filled every corner. Love permeated every conversation. What are you thinking about? Raphael asked later, when everyone had gone home and they were cleaning up together. How different my life is from 2 years ago. How scared I was that night you found me in your office eating that sandwich. Best night of my life, Raphael said. The night our secret stopped being a secret. Best night of mine too. Even though I was terrified. Are you still scared? Brianna looked around their home at the photos on the walls and the comfortable furniture and the life they built. She thought about the program touching hundreds of lives. About the baby growing inside her. About a family that accepted her completely. No, she said honestly. I'm not scared anymore. I'm grateful. For you. For your family. For every person who offered help and taught me to accept it. For every challenge that made me stronger. For all of it. I'm grateful too. Raphael kissed her, soft and sweet. For you. For us. For second chances and late-night sandwiches and the courage to call you my wife in front of the whole world. They finished cleaning together, partners in every sense. Outside, the city glowed with possibility. Inside, love filled every corner. Brianna Cole Bennett had come a long way from being the girl they called nobody. Now she was somebody. Not because she married a billionaire. Not because she ran a successful program. But because she learned the most important lesson of all. That asking for help isn't weakness. That accepting love isn't surrender. That kindness, hope, and love should always lead. And that sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is simply yes. The end. 5 years later, the Sterling Heights Worker Advancement Program had expanded to 15 cities nationwide. Thousands of lives changed. Thousands of dreams realized. Thousands of people who learned to say yes to opportunity. Brianna stood in a new building, the Worker Advancement Foundation headquarters. The nonprofit she started with Raphael's support. The cause that became her life's work. "Mama, look." A small voice called out. Their daughter Emma ran through the hallway, her pigtails bouncing. She was 4 years old and full of endless energy. "Not so fast, honey. This is a work building. But it's your building. You're the boss." Brianna laughed. "I'm a boss. There are lots of bosses. We all work together." Emma considered this, then nodded seriously. "Like you and Daddy." "Exactly like me and Daddy." Raphael appeared with their 1-year-old son Michael on his hip. The baby babbled happily, reaching for Brianna. She took him, breathing in that perfect baby smell. "Ready for the ribbon cutting?" Raphael asked. "As ready as I'll ever be." They walked outside together, a family. The crowd was massive. Media, donors, program participants, city officials. Mayor Chin stood ready with giant scissors. Patricia and George were there. Amy, now married herself, held her own toddler. Grandma Rose sat in a place of honor, still healthy, still proud. "This foundation represents a simple truth," Brianna said into the microphone. "That everyone deserves a chance. Not a handout but an opportunity. A path forward. Support without shame. Help without judgment." She looked at her family, her heart full to bursting. 5 years ago I was scared to accept help. I thought it made me weak. Now I know it made me strong. Strong enough to help others. Strong enough to build something that matters. Strong enough to say yes to love, to family, to a future I once thought was impossible. The ribbon was cut. Applause filled the air. The foundation doors opened, welcoming everyone who needed a second chance, a helping hand, a reason to hope. Brianna Bennett had learned that you don't rise alone. You rise together. With love. With support. With the courage to accept help and the wisdom to offer it freely. And that made all the difference.